We're the Vinyl Verdict. I'm Jacob.
I'm Michael.
And today we're going to be reviewing the Beatles single Lady Madonna with the B-side The Inner Light. It's a little bit falling apart. It's really from 1968. This is your original 45 of this one. We recently covered Strawberry Fields Forever with Penny Lane, and so we skipped about two in the middle. All You Need Is Love came out, and Hello Goodbye came out. Yep. Those were both on Magical Mystery Tour, so it makes sense maybe you didn't run out and buy the 45 of them. And this one was a non-album single, so that was probably the reason why
that was side 2 of Magical.
Picked this one off the shelf for 70 cents, I think. And this was recorded in February 68 and pretty quickly released and on the shelves by March. It was recorded just before they left for India. And it's kind of from a weird era in between where Magical Mystery Tour was done and out, and they did a couple sessions. They also recorded Across the Universe here.
Well, Lady Madonna took some getting used to. It was unlike any other Beatle record, as they often were, because they were always doing new things, but in the sense that it was a return almost to this bluesy kind of Fats Domino-ish type of piano rolling thing, and Paul's voice had on his the Elvis effect on it somewhat. It hit the ears pretty raw for a Beatle track. You know, great harmony. See How They Run was always a great break in the song. The actual verses were pretty raw, pretty Elvis-y, and a return to a simpler type. It sounded like a simpler type of production. And once you got used to it, of course, we loved it.
It's always one of the weird singles that stands out as just being like, it feels like it's in an errant direction from the rest of what the band did. It feels like it's back to the roots before the Get Back sessions, where it was like almost, if they didn't go to India and have one more iteration of spirituality, would have been the reaction to all the psychedelias. They were already going towards the roots. Piano, bass, and the guitar is really electric, actually. It's got some of the like almost revolution level cutting guitar that was coming on the White Album, and like everybody's got something high level like distortion on the guitar, even though it's a little more buried in the mix. And it's really short, 2 minutes and 16 seconds. I gotta think if I was around in 1968, I might have been a little disappointed by this as being the next big hit after All You Need Is Love and these anthemic records that were leading the direction of everything. This was a bit of a callback to their roots. It's a cool riff too. I love playing this on piano. It's got a nice like the boogie woogie feel, but then the same riff is happening on piano, on bass, and then on guitar, all playing that same riff a little bit too much almost by the end of it. Then the B-side couldn't be more different. So you get The Inner Light, which was also non-album, wasn't released on anything. Third and final real Indian complete instrumentation.
Yes.
I'd always read this was one of the few songs a Beatle did not play on it. It was completely a session of musicians that he recorded in Mumbai during the Wonderwall era. But then I think something came out on the Sgt. Pepper release that he's guiding them. He's giving them kind of the melody, and I think he might be playing on one instrument on here. Now it's a little bit contested whether or not George plays on here.
That's interesting.
But majority is obviously non-Beatles members playing on it. I think he came back from India with the recording already made and basically showed it to the band. So they weren't super involved in it. But what is interesting, I think, is George singing most of it, similar to Love You Too. Paul just has one harmony on the last line of the whole song, right? On the like do all without doing or something. But just one harmony at the end of the whole song, which is very tastefully done.
Well, you mentioned his earlier Indian songs and that Indian influence songs, and that this was the last one. And I also think loved each of them in their own way. I have to say this was probably the most melodic one. East meets West, kind of a crossing of the two genres of Indian music with some of the melody of a Western kind of popish feel. I don't know, I thought he really carried it off. Great, George made it to a 45.
So I disagree. I think this is the most inaccessible Indian song he did, because Love You Too is like a rock song and how fast it is. This, because it's based on that like Mumbai sound, which is a very different, I think, region of India, the way it was recorded. The instrumentation, everything just feels much more foreign. It really stands out as like, this is a Beatles song. If you heard instrumental, like much slower too, and it keeps kind of in the verses going back. It's a weird 45. They had a single due in early 68, and this is what they picked. All right, so that's Lady Madonna with The Inner Light.